Okay, so the Eagles have obviously been extremely dominant running the football with Saquon Barkley lately, but there have been some slight concerns brought up about the Eagles' passing game recently and even the involvement of A.J. Brown and DeVonta Smith. However, the Birds don't seem to be worried about it as they denied any concerns while also teasing somewhat of an offensive switch-up and possible explosion in the coming weeks. Meanwhile, the Birds just got some shocking news on defense as one of their key pass rushers is all of a sudden set to undergo surgery and miss significant time. And also, Darius Slay just made a shocking declaration as he seems to think that this current Eagles team and defense could be better than it was in 2022. Plus, as the Eagles are preparing to take on a talented Rams team, multiple guys spoke on some of the biggest challenges that they will face and they previewed the matchup. So we're going to talk about that and all the other latest Eagles news starting right now. Hey guys, welcome to the Philly Fan 21 channel. If you're new, I'm Evan and I cover all things Philadelphia Eagles. And let's start off with QB1 Jalen Hurts, as yesterday he was in New York City on Good Morning America where he talked about the Bird season and also his foundation, which aims to help kids and specifically has put a focus on getting air conditioning into schools in the Philadelphia area. And his latest initiative that has been going on this entire season is that whenever he scores a touchdown, that's $5,000 to improve air conditioning in Philly classrooms. And with 23 total touchdowns on the year so far, that's $115,000 raised for a good cause with 7 games still to go. And like I've said before on this channel, I absolutely love seeing QB1 doing work in the community like this. And if you guys do want to learn more about the Hurts Foundation or donate to it, I always have a link to it down in the description of my videos. So again, if you want to check it out, it's right there. And staying with Hurts, I mean, there just always seems to be some ongoing criticism surrounding him no matter what he does, even though all he's really done since entering the NFL is win games, and he's also played really well individually at times too, including for the majority of this 6-game win streak that the Birds are on. Yet anytime he doesn't have his best game or he makes any sort of mistake, people are quick to jump on him and claim that he's regressing or that he can't read a defense or things like that, which is just an insane standard and one that really no other quarterback in the league is held to, which is shown perfectly when you look at Jalen Hurts' stats compared to Patrick Mahomes' stats side by side since the start of the 2022 season, as Hurts has the edge in total touchdowns and turnovers, and his other numbers that are shown here are very similar to Mahomes. And look, no, I'm not at all saying that Jalen Hurts is better than Patrick Mahomes, because the latter has obviously won 2 Super Bowls in that time, and there's a lot more context that needs to be added to these basic statistics to get a true picture of who's the better player, but the point that I'm simply making is that Hurts is held to an impossible standard that no one else seems to get held to, and Mahomes is currently a perfect example as Jalen objectively is having the better individual season right now, yet nobody is criticizing Mahomes like people are criticizing Hurts. And again, it's just crazy to me how ridiculously high the standard is that Hurts gets held to. But obviously, I mean, none of that stuff really matters when it comes down to it. All that matters is winning football games, which the Eagles and Jalen Hurts have done a lot of recently. And they're going to want to keep it going this week versus a Rams team that is playing pretty well as of late, as they've won 4 out of their last 5 games, and they've gotten healthy at the right time, especially on offense, as star receivers Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp have been playing the last 4 weeks, and they've been playing at a pretty high level. So this will definitely be a big challenge for the Eagles defense and secondary. And on Tuesday, defensive coordinator Vic Fangio talked about the challenges that they and the Rams offense present.
Yeah, 2 really good receivers. They really have good karma, both of them, with Stafford. They're strong at the catch point. Both of them are strong receivers. Both are excellent runners after the catch. And, you know, they had played, I don't know how many games, but more than a few without either one of them. You know, for them to be at this point in the season with the injuries they've had speaks highly of their players and their coaching staff.
Like Fangio said, this is certainly going to be a tough challenge for the Eagles defense, as Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp are obviously great players, and again, like he also just said, they have a good connection with their quarterback Matthew Stafford, who, by the way, is coming off his best game of the season where he threw 4 touchdowns and no interceptions, so he definitely is a very tough matchup as well. And perhaps the guy who knows that better than anybody in the Eagles locker room is offensive coordinator Kellen Moore, as he spent several years as the backup to Stafford in Detroit. And on Tuesday, he had some very high praise for his former teammate.
Matthew's just one of the premier quarterbacks in this league. I was fortunate to be around him for a few years in Detroit. I think what I always learned so much from him when I was in the room with him was just how much work went into it during the week. I think, Matthew's preparation is very rare. The work he puts into it, just the amount of film he watches. I think he's got an excellent feel for the game. His ability to make adjustments at the line of scrimmage and kind of control the whole operation is very rare. And so, certainly I learned a lot, being around him for those first couple of years, and obviously he's continued for a number of years.
Again, Stafford is certainly a very good player and one of the more talented quarterbacks in this league, so slowing him down will be tough, especially with the talented weapons that he's got, like I mentioned previously. And last year in Week 5, the Eagles didn't do a great job of slowing down the Rams star duo, as they let up nearly 200 combined receiving yards to them and a touchdown. But the good thing is that, like I talked about in my video yesterday, the defense has vastly improved from last year, and a huge reason for that is the play of their secondary and specifically the corners, as the additions of Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean have obviously made a huge difference, as both of these guys have been locked down pretty much since the first time they got it on the field for the Birds defense, and that includes against some of the league's best receivers. So I have no doubt that they should be able to continue their success this week, even with how good the Rams star duo receiver obviously has been. On one hand, you got Coop locking down the slot.
Cooper DeJean is cornerback 1, yeah. He locked down your number 1 option.
So he should match up pretty nicely with Cooper Kupp and hopefully limit what he's able to do. And then on the other hand, you got Quinyon Mitchell having an all-pro caliber season in year 1 on the outside, as he's the only corner in the NFL to not allow a single touchdown in 375 plus coverage snaps, which is just insane. And he's coming off a performance where he held Terry McLaurin to 0 catches. So Puka Nacua looks like he could be next in line to be locked up in Guantanamo Bay. And honestly, the craziest thing about just how good Q and Coop have been playing this year is that they're just getting started and they're only going to continue to get better. And in regards to the possibility of them maybe hitting a rookie wall and falling off a little bit down the stretch of the season, defensive coordinator Vic Fangio doesn't seem to think that that's going to happen.
Back in the day, you used to hear rookies hitting the rookie wall. I don't think that rookie wall exists anymore, because back in the day, you'd have 2-a-days in training camp. And when you got a rookie that you thought would play, you'd practice him a lot. He'd play a lot in preseason games when there was 4. Well, that don't happen anymore. So I don't buy the rookie wall anymore. It's not physical. It might be mental or emotional, but it's not physical anymore, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm definitely not expecting any sort of a fall-off from Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, or any of the other young guys. I think Fangio does make a good point there about the rookie wall maybe not being as relevant as it used to be, and all the evidence that we've seen from these guys and the Eagles defense as a whole suggests that they're just going to keep getting better. But that would also apply to some of the Rams rookies as well, most notably Jared Verse, who has been a very good player and pass rusher so far this season. And he's a guy that Kellen Moore knows that the Eagles are going to have to be prepared for.
Yeah, relentless motor, premier player in this league. I think, you definitely see it. And him and a number of the other guys on the defensive line, they're doing a really, really good job. And they're getting after the quarterback, pressuring him. I think they're doing a really good job in the run as far as utilizing their fronts and kind of stuffing out the run game. And so this will be a big-time challenge for us.
Verse certainly has had a very impressive rookie season, and the Rams do have some talented pass rushers. But personally, I'm just confident in the best tackle duo in the NFL in Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata to slow them down. Just last week, neither of these two allowed a single pressure in the game against the Commanders, which is just unreal. So again, I have all the confidence in the world that they'll be able to have success against Verse and the Rams pass rush. And speaking of having confidence in this team, some recent comments from Darius Slay should give Birds fans even more of a reason to be confident in what they can accomplish this season, as he just made a declaration about this current team that is very interesting. And don't worry, we're going to get into that and more in just a minute, but real quick, I do want to say, if you are enjoying this video and you don't want to miss any other Eagles coverage or content just like this coming throughout the rest of this entire season, then make sure you subscribe, and also really, really importantly, turn on notifications so you are notified instantly when one of these videos is uploaded. Trust me, you guys are not going to want to miss any of the Eagles coverage or content I got coming on this channel throughout the rest of the year. I cover the Birds pretty much daily here, so if you want to stay up to date on all the latest Eagles news, this is the spot. So again, subscribe and hit the notification bell, and also drop a like while you're at it. Let's see if we can get to 600 likes today. And now, with all that being said, let's get back into the video. So Darius Slay has been in the news many times before for a wide variety of comments that he's made, both good and controversial, but recently he did say something that Eagles fans should be really excited to hear, as he just had an appearance on FS1's new show, The Facility, where he said that this Eagles team, and specifically the defense, is overall better than the unit that went all the way to the Super Bowl in 2022.
What's the difference between this year's Eagles team and the Eagles team that went to the Super Bowl?
Ooh, no, I say this team is way a lot more, balanced than the 2022 team, because of the fact that, if you are an Eagles player, the Eagles always been D-line driven, And, you know, the D-line really kind of like carries the team. They set the tone. I think this whole team here in 2024 is a team. The defense is a whole tone setter instead of just like the D-line, even though we still command the D-line to set the tone because they are the front. But you can see it's kind of like more balanced, not guys that's sticking out with 15 sacks, 12 sacks, 13 sacks. You know, we had a year with at least 5, 6 guys had over 10 sacks. So, that's D-line driven. Right now, I think we got a guys that all contribute in a good way, and we all just playing together.
I honestly agree that just overall, especially defensively, this Birds team is more balanced than they were in 2022. I mean, that defense was great, obviously, and they were historic at getting to the quarterback, and they had the best pass defense in the league, so it's definitely not a crazy difference from then to now. But this year, things just feel more balanced to me on all 3 levels, and everyone's just feeding off each other more so than in the past where it was all D-line driven, which again, that's not a bad thing. It's just that now things seem to be even more of an all-around effort, and I love that. And overall, I just think it's going to be so scary for opposing offenses to face this Eagles defense down the stretch run of the season and moving into the playoffs because they just keep getting better with each passing week. Unfortunately though, the Eagles did just get a big and surprising update today involving one of their key pass rushers, as after multiple weeks of playing through what was revealed to be a pretty serious hand and wrist injury that forced him to wear a huge cast on his hand, Bryce Huff is now set to undergo surgery tomorrow to repair it, which Nick Sirianni confirmed in a press conference.
So he will be, and he's really done a good job of battling through. But this will help him get some more, hopefully help him get some more function in that hand, and we'll see as the season continues. But just can't say enough of how he battled through and tried to keep going through it. So hopefully this helps him.
I definitely do think it is admirable that Huff was trying to play through this injury, and I give a tremendous amount of credit to him for even attempting to do that, and also for playing pretty well in the process. And I think it's clear that just in terms of his on-field production, that Huff was trending upwards, and he was playing a lot better than he was in the early parts of the season, especially before the injury happened. So it definitely stinks that he's got to now deal with this injury and miss time because of it, but the good news is that he should be back later this season, and theoretically, with him being fully healthy after undergoing surgery, he should be in position to play his best ball yet. So we'll see how that goes, and hopefully he's able to come back and just help this defense continue to get better. But now, switching over to the offense, they've obviously gotten better on that side of the ball too, in large part because Saquon Barkley and the Birds' run game have been just absolutely unstoppable, and it's really just become a huge part of the Eagles' identity and who they are this year. But obviously, with a bigger emphasis on the ground game and more carries for Barkley and the running backs, that obviously means a little bit less opportunities for guys like A.J. Brown and DeVonta Smith to put up big numbers in the passing game. And currently, the Eagles rank 22nd in the NFL in pass yards per game, so in terms of the individual numbers for guys like A.J. and DeVonta, they are a little bit down from where they've been in previous years. And I've seen some fans here and there just express concern about that, but the Eagles don't really seem to be too concerned about it at all, as Kellen Moore recently not only said that more opportunities will eventually come for A.J. and DeVonta, but he also potentially teased an explosion in the passing game coming soon.
The beauty of what we have on offense, we got a lot of really talented players, and they all deserve opportunities in these games. And so, in the pass game, when you have a game like that where you have a lot of rushing attempts and not as many passing opportunities, naturally those guys aren't going to get as many touches probably as they deserve and have earned. But I think those guys, you're constantly in conversation about those opportunities eventually present themselves. Again, like we said, not every game are we going to be able to rush 40, 45 attempts. We'd love to. But there's going to come different games and different styles, and that's the beauty of the NFL, that every week's a different challenge, and there's going to come a time we're going to have to sling it around and make some plays in some critical situations, and those guys will be ready.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I was never really too worried about the numbers being down for AJ and Smitty. I know how good they are, and I know that them and Jalen Hurts are very capable of putting up big numbers if they need to, and like Moore said, that game will eventually come where they need to have a bigger performance through the air, and AJ and DeVonta will surely be ready for that. And the other thing about that, too, is that when the Eagles do have good days passing the football, and if they do eventually have an explosion through the air in the coming weeks, that'll just make the Birds offense even scarier, because it'll be even more proof that they are capable of destroying a defense in multiple different ways, and that's just impossible to defend. But we'll see how the Eagles want to attack this Rams defense in just a couple days, and of course, again, you guys already know that I'm going to be covering everything leading into that matchup, so again, if you don't want to miss any of that, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications, and also drop a like down below to show some support. If you did enjoy this video, it really does help me out a ton. Again, let's see if we can get to 600 likes today, and also leave a comment down below just regarding anything that I talked about in this video, and if you want to watch another Eagles video going over some news from earlier in the week, you can check this out right here. And now with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys, so thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.